Welcome, friends. So for today's flip through, I've done the Three Little Pigs, and I'm part of the Paper Magic Collective, and that's being led by Finding Joy in Color. And this month's theme was the Three Little Pigs. So I have this book here. I loved this book as a kid. It's the true story of the Three Little Pigs. I have the title page here, and it's by A. Wolf. And then there's this letter in the front of the book where he's writing you from prison, explaining that the whole thing was not what it seemed and that he's innocent. There's always obviously been some kind of mistake. It's been 10 years now since I first explained what happened to those three little pigs, but I'm still in the pen. Maybe the warden just hasn't had a chance to look into the whole mess yet. I'm sure everything will be taken care of once he hears my side of the story. I mean, why wouldn't I be set free? I've been a model prisoner. There was that small problem with the cake my granny sent to me. I don't know how a saw got in there. It must have fallen off the tool chef and into the frosting, like she said. And there was that confused little girl in the Red Riding Hood, saw my picture in the paper, and she made up some tale about me dressing like her granny and scaring her with what big eyes I have and what big teeth I have. Crazy. Would I do something like that? I think the answer to that is in the letters that I get from all over the world. Anyway, and he goes through all these different letters that kids have written to him. Anyway, so I tore this out of the book and I distressed the edges and made this little envelope like it had been sent from prison and just clipped that to this first page. And I love the aesthetic of this book. It matches my aesthetic so well. Alright, so it says here, everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or they think they do. But I'll tell you a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my story. And then I made this file, this confidential file with the case number on it, and I have this little mini newspaper here. And I put all these different elements of evidence in this file folder. Okay, so this is supposed to look like a police record with, I have the left and right paw prints, so like how you would have left and right thumb prints. And then a shopping list. On the shopping list it has knife, cold medicine, salt, pepper, pork rub mysteriously, and sugar and eggs. So I thought that would be fun to put that as his shopping list. And then a letter that he wrote to his granny. So it says, Dear Granny, things are well. It has been 3 years since my last incident. My neighbors are nice though. I think I'll like it here. P.S. I have a terrible cold and would love your cake recipe to cheer me up. So that's him asking his granny for the cake recipe. And so that's all the evidence in my police file here. And then I put the headline to this is a newspaper or one of the Pathfinders from Silver Dollar City. I am the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. And that's just a little booklet that you can write things in, a little mini booklet. And then I have a wanted poster from a Silver Dollar City Pathfinder. And then this miniature picture frame that's just washi tape. All right, and here I have a postcard from Granny where she sends her cake recipe. And then a graph paper and a calendar in case you wanted to maybe add some dates and, you know, make kind of your own little story here. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably call you big and bad too. And then here's a picture from the book with him with this little cheeseburger, and the cheeseburger has like little rabbits and things in it. And then this windmill page that kind of fit the theme, and you can write on the inside of this here. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar, and then he's thinking of sugar, and these are all pictures from the book. You can write on these. Here's just some washi tape. Got all these little paw stickers that I put on the corners. So this is a page out of a kid's book, and it had some pigs on it, so I thought that was nice to put in there. It's like, it's very old. And then I got a writing page, and then a little die cut here. These are from Silver Dollar City, from the bags. You get the gift bags, and they're brown and they're plain. You can write on the other side. Here's a newspaper. It's also blank on the other side. And then I've got another piece of washi tape that I turned into a picture frame, and then another wanted poster, and this one is for cinnamon bread. So I thought that fit the theme since it's a wanted poster, and he was asking for sugar for his granny's birthday cake. Here I got a belly band, and I have an index card that has Granny Wolf's pulled pork recipe, which is concerning. A little pocket with this napkin for whoever gets this book, so they have something that they can decoupage into the book. I wanted to make sure all the stuff I put in here kind of was ambiguous. Some of it kind of points to him being guilty, others point to him maybe being innocent. I didn't want it to be too obvious. And here's him going to the next pig's house. And this is like some newspaper cardstock that I turned into a file folder. And it says, so I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. This neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? And that's just on some card stock, so you can write on the other side of it. And then on the other side, I have just a piece of the book from basically the straw house. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. Alright, and here I have this tag, and on this tag I have the next part of the story. It says, that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed. And then here's the picture of the house blowing in. And then on the tag, I put this charm that says BFF because I thought that was ironic and funny. And here's another picture of the house blowing in and the little pig. And you know what? That whole darn house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been there the whole time. So I did have to eliminate a few of the lines of the book, but for the most part, I managed to get the whole essence of the book in the journal, which I thought was really fun. So you can actually still read the book. And here I have another piece of a bag that says hams. And then I had this index card that I had already made. It has a turkey on it, so I thought that kind of fit the wolf theme that we had going on. You can write on the back of it. And here I actually put my own little insert in. Dear Diary, I was unable to go shopping yesterday because of my terrible cold. I'm really hungry and could use a nice pork chop. I guess I'll have to settle for cake, but what I wouldn't give for a juicy chop. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He built his house out of sticks. And I glued that to the stick house. And here I have a pocket, and I had this, it's actually from Buttons, and it had a storybook feel to it. So it's like just some button trash that you can write on. And I've got a bookmark here if you need to mark your page. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. I just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe this, his house fell down like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full. But my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So funny story. The Silly Symphonies versions of The Three Little Pigs was my husband's favorite movie. Every time they went to the video store, he would rent the exact same movie, and it was so bad that they would literally drop it off. They would check it in and go put it back on the shelf and he'd rent it again. And they just thought it was so funny, so they just kept re-renting it. And they probably rented it like 100 times, they said. I knocked on the brick house, no answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that little porker answered? Get out of here, Wolf, don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of cake when I felt a cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig answered, your old granny can sit on a pin. And I have a little pocket here for whoever ends up with this book with little tags in it that they can use to embellish some pages. And on all these envelopes, I put these just little animal stamps. This is actually a iron-on for embroidery, and these are super old, and it's not opened, and I want to leave that. I thought about opening it, but I decided to leave it closed so whoever gets this book can open it and feel like they're, you know, the first ones to see it. And it's little dogs. I didn't have any wolves, but I had dogs. So I've got a paper here for journaling, another picture, and then another evidence file, little case file, police file. And here I have the last picture from the book. It's just like a little piece of one of the houses falling in, and this dog fabric. Didn't have any wolves, unfortunately. And here I have eyewitness testimonies and I have all of the kind of rodent animals talking about the wolf being mean, and all of the hunting animals saying he wasn't a bad guy at all. And then, of course, it's Agent Daisy Dog, who is apparently the agent on the case, and the sergeant's a pig, so she's saying she thinks he's maybe a little biased. And then another like profile page, and it says that, you know, family members, known family members is Granny, and then height and weight. Here's a picture of the pig in the brick house. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops showed up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door the whole time while I was yelling and puffing. And then we have the wolf, and here is the newspaper, the Big Bad Wolf, where they smeared him, supposedly. And another belly band with hams in it, and says the rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. And then on the other page here, he's in jail asking for a cup of sugar. So that's it. That's my 3 little pigs junk journal. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos.